Our brilliant legal experts are back. We've got criminal defense attorneys Mark O'Mara and Stacey Schneider. Also here with us, former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Neama Rahmani. We've got a lot to get to. This was a jam-packed cross-examination. Well, Neama, on that point, certainly we're only, day or four, I think, into the trial. The jury is going to have to hear a lot more. And we knew from the prosecution's opening that it will be not necessarily chronological and they'll get a lot of different information. But the defense is, as Stacey is indicating, trying to undermine the perception the jury might have from the prosecution's case of why. And the defense showed messages from, and talking about the case, about the drug use and withdrawal that may have fueled violent outbursts from Combs. Is that going to be enough to convince the jury?
No, Laura, drug use is not an excuse to beat someone at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. And, the prosecution can still get to racketeering without sex trafficking. No question today was a good day for the defense. They had the receipts. They had the text messages and emails. If I was the government, I would have fronted some of this a little bit better. But Cassie testified that she was in love with him. And can any human being reasonably engage in sex where they're urinated on, sex when they're menstruating, on their UTI, take so many drugs that they throw up? I think the jurors are going to see past this, and the government's going to come back on redirect, and they're going to have experts that are going to talk about the psychology of an abuse victim. Now, the defense did score some points today. The fact that Combs had sex with other women while Cassie watched, that does support the swingers lifestyle argument. The fact that Cassie took drugs outside of the freak-offs voluntarily, she experimented at Burning Man, certainly that helps the defense. But I think they need to go a lot farther than they did today. And frankly, I expected more. I expected a Camille Vasquez, Amber Heard type day today. I think this was going to be the biggest day of the trial, and I was pretty underwhelmed.
Violence was on that point. Do you think that the pacing or the minutia and the detail was important?
I do, and I'm a former prosecutor, victims' rights lawyer, but I gotta agree with Stacey. I mean, Combs's life is on the line, so I understand Judge Subramanian wants to move this along, but you have to give the defense their fair shot. And really, I don't think they've gotten to a lot of their key points. We went through all the documents today, but they're really scratching the surface of the jealousy, some of the other relationships, Kid Cudi, Michael B. Jordan. We got into a little bit of the drug use today. They're trying to connect that and somehow explain away the 2016 beating. I don't think they can do it, but I think they're really just getting started, and that's not even counting for redirect. I don't think we're going to get done tomorrow, and I don't think the judge can do much to make it happen by tomorrow.
And we already saw in one of the instances, they allowed the defense to recross after a redirect at one point in time. And remember, racketeering carries a possible life sentence. Very serious. Well, is their burden of proof at all times to prove their case? And we will see in their case in chief. Neama, I want to turn to you because we know who's going to be part of the next several witnesses. One of the next two witnesses for the prosecution could be former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard. She actually sued Combs for alleged battery, for sexual harassment, for false imprisonment. Is it the right move to bring up two accusers back to back?
It is, Laura, and this is why. We heard Lisa talk about the psychology of an abuse victim, and Mark touched upon it as well. And it's not abnormal to love your abuser. You can be abused, send words of affirmation, and still be physically and sexually abused. But to the extent that there are other victims that are telling the same story of physical and sexual violence who are not in a loving relationship with Sean Diddy Combs, that is very helpful. So someone like Richard, victim 4, victim 2. These are individuals that participated in freak-offs or were employees of Combs. They're going to tell the same story without the emails and text messages that we saw today. And jurors might have a tough time believing one victim, even if that victim is Cassie Ventura, but the prosecution wants to overwhelm them with the sheer number of victims telling that same story. And when they go back into that jury deliberation room, it is going to be very difficult for the jurors to disbelieve everyone.
They want the walks like a duck, sounds like a duck phenomenon to occur in their case. Thank you, everyone.